morning, brothers and sisters. Good morning, our teachers at the Aboy. I'm Susan. With me today, I have Sister Yuan Yuan, who will do this sharing together with me. So today we'd like to share with everyone our journey of environmental sustainability in Singapore. For our environmental mission, actually, we are into probably our 35 or 38 years. I am very bad at numbers, but then we have started that long ago, and Singapore has also started our environment protection. The very first year Singapore branch was established. So today is to share with everyone how our environment sustainability has evolved in the Singapore country and context. So from very beginning, I think for everybody, we all we have been working on our environmental mission with this goal and direction. I think everybody is almost on the same page. So for the Singapore team, we have actually written it or phrased it, the goal and direction in this for the whole country, and this has not changed for the past at least 15 years, and we are still working on this because this is a subject that is very, very wide. So all this while in focus, we have been always reminding ourselves that our environmental mission goal is to raise the environmental sustainability awareness in community and to expand our spread outreach to more people. So I think Tzu Chi is an organization whereby we are very close to ground level, and community work is something that we are kind of also quite strong. It's actually also one of our footpath that we're doing, like community activity. So even the environmental mission, the area or the scope that it focus is also community, which is something at least for the Singapore context pretty unique for environment protection, because not many organizations is actually into very ground community work. So we have always given ourselves this goal that our target audience is the community, and is a awareness kind of education. We want to outreach to the people and in the more people in the community. So it is always focused over there. Yeah. So over here you see a timeline of our Singapore mission. As I mentioned, we actually started environment mission the very first year Singapore branch was also started. So we have a journey of 30 years of evaluation, and through the different point timeline, there is always something that evolve as the time comes. Meaning to say, we always believe that there is something happen because of for a reason. So for the Singapore environmental mission, sustainability mission, I will call it in short throughout my sharing is ES mission. Throughout this period, ES mission, we actually had a lot of milestone, a lot of change, quite a fair bit of changes, I would say. But every change, every happening, there was always a reason. We are preparing for a future of evaluation, adapting to the society, adapting to the community, so that we can get closer to them, we can outreach to them better, and they're willing to accept us in the community. So these are the more significant events throughout the 30 years that make a change to the mission development in Singapore. Also, it made quite a big impact change to our volunteers in Singapore with regards to ES mission. And this morning sharing, we will go into sharing one part of this whole 30 years, because we want to share it slowly with everyone. So we will do like almost two-thirds of the journey of the timeline. Yeah. Okay, so we started in 1994, and that is where we established the first so-called collection, recycling volunteer team. And back then, in 1994, everybody is still on this. We work, or we contribute in environment protection in this, as with this very basic understanding and thinking, and also sharing this with people that in back then, I think the whole world, and in Singapore is actually very backdated in terms of environment protection or recycling. So back then, nobody know what is recycling. So we often have to advocate and share with the public that all this that you think is a waste or rubbish actually can become gold or money. And all this money, if all this so-called your waste, that you pass it on to Tzu Chi will convert this into cash, and then this cash will be converted into love, because we use this cash that is converted from all this so-called waste into helping more people within the Tzu Chi other mission or charity, and so that was back then how we started. So everybody, the public, the resident actually was recognize us as in like, oh, okay, here come the Tzu Chi volunteer asking for the recyclables. I give it to them. These recyclables can help other people, or can help in the charity mission of Tzu Chi. So that was how we started back then, and the concept and mentality the public has on us. And then so just now in the small little photo, you see there the volunteers on the truck. They are like a mobile collection. They will go from blocks to blocks, and then go to household by household, knocking door. Very volunteer manpower intensive to go and ask everybody for the recyclables. So they were like a mobile team. Then until 1999, we managed to actually establish the first eco point within a residential area. But there again, it's just a point, so it's a very mobile. It's also a mobile, like impromptu kind of location. We will have it for one morning to do, but other days we are not there. So it's like we go in and then we finish the collection will come out. So 1999, we managed to convince one residential estate committee to give us and to trust us that we are there to do a good thing for the environment. So back then, all we could is to get a permission to do collection there. So with that permission, they only gave us, they said the permission to do that, but then we actually work under the trees in the open space to do our sorting. So at 1999, it's still the situation of volunteers going up to the household, knocking on the door. Hey, can you give me the recyclables? Paper can be recycled, plastic can be recycled. They practically have to one item, like item type by item type, tell the resident, hey, this can you give it to me, rather we put into the waste bin. So that was back then. And then we our Tzu Chi, we also have a lot of Tzu Chi to come and help us. Then they go upstairs with the two-wheeler. You can see on the bottom left photo, everybody go with a two-wheeler, door by door, collect, and then bring it down to this to down the ground level in the open space. Then there will be another bigger team of volunteers sitting there doing the sorting of the recyclables one by one. You can see that this is open space under the tree. Singapore in back then is also in back then the weather is such that we always have we call it passing shower, sudden rain. So back then, this team of volunteers, they are very perseverant. They persevere very much in the work they do, regardless rain or shine. They are diligently doing their best for Mother Earth. Back then, they hold very strong perseverance that what they do is for Mother Earth. They must do it. So rain or shine, they are there. So what happened when rain comes? Can you imagine this amount of things that's sitting on the floor? When rain come, that is where you actually experience another spirit of, we always say, team spirit in Tzu Chi. And the team spirit just very beautifully, it will just happen, or it just evolve. Meaning to say that the moment rain come, naturally everybody know what they need to do. They'll grab what need to be grabbed to be sheltered from the rain. They grab and run. And very impressively, every time when this happen, when everybody grab and run, most of the items that need to be sheltered from the rain are salvaged. This is a kind of spirit, team spirit, that, and the kind of like unity that is very amazing. It's an unspoken kind of understanding among everybody, but everybody just could do it together like this. Yeah. So that was how Singapore started, and I believe many countries started in this kind of setup. It was not easy; it was very tough, but there's a lot of sweet and actually fun memories doing this. Been through this is very tough, but a lot of sweet, nice memories. Whereby seriously, those who went through it, they treasure much better what we have now, which is much more better version than when we started back then. So back then, it's just piles and piles and heaps of items that can be recycled. And because we do door by door collection, and we always educate and advocate the residents, say, oh, what this something else do you actually throw away? Can you give it to us? We end up, I mean, back then the mindset is the more item we collect, the better it is. The more item we collect, we have more money, because back then it's talking about waste convert to cash, as I mentioned just now. So everybody was like so happy. Oh, so much thing to collect. Very happy. We sort, we recycle, we convert the cash, we convert into love to help the community further. So back then it was like a lot, and everybody was just so busy doing sorting and sorting. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention just now. Just now was under the tree. So during this period, in this particular point, although we started with under the tree, but later on in about year, if I remember correctly, maybe about year 2006 or 2007, we did some change and evaluation, because we also we went through that, and we cited the kind of very tough environment our volunteer have to do all this work. Then we managed to convince the estate management, say, please allow us do it at the void deck. So this estate has about 10 blocks, if I remember correctly. So then we oh, you see, 10 blocks and all in one point. Actually, our volunteer have to push the trolley a very long distance to the central so-called sorting point, just to do sorting. So when we spoke to the estate management and convinced them, because of many years of proven diligence by the volunteer team, we managed to convince the management we will keep the place very clean, as we have done in the open space. Let us have the so-called, we call it, Singapore we call it void deck, the ground level of the block, which is sheltered, so that we don't have to manage this weather situation. So in 2028, we managed to actually move into the blocks. And actually, I think if I remember correctly, we moved into four blocks within the estate. So then the whole mode of the whole activity change. We then everybody actually have to form into small teams, and then each small teams will actually go to the four location within the four small location within the estate, and set up so-called the sorting point within there. So with this change, because we need to form teams to move out, then there is more chance for the eco team leaders to have more communication with the volunteer, garnering more common consensus. Say, today this activity, how this work we're gonna do it better, and what is our role and our different role, how we can do it even better and serve the resident even better. So communication with the team get started in this time of change. Yeah. So so back then, when we were doing this, in fact, our volunteer go upstairs to do OLI collection, and the residents would just put the items at their doorstep. So there is practically no chance to actually, sometimes practically no chance to communicate with the resident or talk to the resident. We are just going to the doorstep, pick and go. So there's no way to do communication. Therefore there's no way to do education. But in 2018, Singapore team recognized that, and also being advised by our teachers at the board, that recycling is a so-called external form or external image or something along that line, that we go and approach the community. Meaning to say, we through the work of recycling, we can reach out to the community, outreach to the community, but the ultimate drive for us is that when we outreach the community, we are able to communicate with them. We're able to share with them the good things about society, the good things about life. So come to environment protection. We do the collection, but we should have an opportunity to communicate and share with them why protecting the environment means so much. Back then, we already know we need to do environment protection. So given the context of how this location operate, there was no chance to do communication with the resident. There's no chance to do information sharing with the resident. At the end of the day, what happened is that the resident actually treat us like, in Singapore term, I think in Malaysia also you know this term, they treat us like garang guni, meaning to say that they treat us as waste collector people. So in a very blunt word, it's like free label, help them clear things from the house, So there was totally no chance of doing that. Then we were just all of us were just so busy doing collection work, laborers work, and then we have to have so much manpower after we do the collection. At that point, the collection was really very large. So at the end of collection, our volunteer have to find trucks to send the items to the various wholesaling recycling factory within the same day, because it's a mobile station. So back then, the time of this activity was just like how should I say, just collection. It didn't achieve the goal of environmental awareness advocacy. So that was then, but that was, as I said, everything happened for a reason. This is what we have to walk through. This is what we have been through. But we've been through that. We put into thoughts that, is this the way going long and far? Is this the sustainable way? Are we actually pursuing the goal if we continue like this? So we managed to use the site as a basic place, basic model, and then we came up with ideas and evolution from there. How can we run the activity so that we can move closer to our goal? So in this this period of 26 and to 2011 was a period whereby we went out beyond that one location. So back then it's one whole Singapore, only one location and only once a month. And we see that we are just doing collection into only one group of estate. So 2060 onwards, we start to go beyond that. We start to see that we need to outreach the public. We need to go out. We need to go out. We can't be very self-complacent and just be staying in one point. So from 2016 to 2011, we start developing and start moving out to other estates in Singapore. And we establish more community eco points. We call it community eco points. Of course, everybody is very comfortable. They have been in one same place for so many years. Everybody was so comfortable. Even they come from very different parts of Singapore, very far away. They're still so comfortable. This is human nature. So even back then, 2060, we tried to go into the community. It was not easy, but we are always very thankful that everyone is very excellent 自己 volunteer with reasoning, with explanation. Ultimately, there will still be a group of volunteers who is willing to embrace change and then move along with the direction of the mission. So we started in 26 and then we slowly we try to get it happen. And 2011 we came up with the methodology, say today this is an activity actually that need to be operated or run by a group of volunteers. The best grouping we have in our organization structure is can't remember what is it in English, 协力组嘛. So like at the zone level, we will have one group, then we have Fuai, then we have Heqi. So back then we say, actually one zone is one group of volunteers that is actually sufficient to operate one point. So then we go along and we discuss with the 社区组长, the leaders, shall we take this approach and every one zone have one point? This is how then we can outreach to more point and location all over Singapore. So this is then we start to have more points of eco point in Singapore to outreach to more people. At the same time, we also recognize that we need a permanent location as well to serve to do another scope of work and to serve another scope of work. So we also had our first eco station in 2016, and then subsequently we also evolved to have a station at our own 净思堂. So and then all over Singapore we have this 慈济 recycling day all over Singapore, but volunteers are still also just sorting items. And back then I can't remember, but before COVID, this kind of 1 point, one zone, one point, we reached to about, I think, 39 points pre-COVID time. Yeah. So just as I mentioned, we had our station. The station is behind our 净思堂, and is the typical kind of station you see. Also collection, a lot of collection. Yeah. So then very grateful and thankfully that in 2013, one of our entrepreneur volunteer, brother Sizo, he through all this eco point works, he recognized that we need to have a better location of eco station to serve a better spectrum of the coverage of ES mission. So it actually offered a place for us to have an eco station. So we had 10 volunteers in 2013 returning back to Taiwan to learn how to set up a full-scale eco station. And in 2014, we managed to set up the first eco education station, which was told by Master that we must set an eco education system. Singapore is it's a country full of resources. Everybody is living in a very good life. They need to learn how to have a sustainable lifestyle rather than we doing collection. Education is more important for Singapore rather than to do just a recycling collection. That is why Master has given us the direction and the naming that the station must be a education system. So 2014 we started with first one, very I'll say very simple with all the poster boards. That was how limited we experience we have. Then we have a second generation station revamp of the station in 2018, which is in conjunction with our Singapore Tzu Chi 25th anniversary. So this second generation, after 4 years of operation, we have more experience how we can do education sharing better. And the second generation, we put in more education material, we put in more interactive so-called exhibits item to do the education. Yeah. So for our permanent station, we can see the timeline from 26 onwards. Then we have various evaluation and timeline of the station. So the very first so-called education station actually start from 2014, which Master gave us the direction in Chinese that it should be a 环保教育站. So translated in English, going along the goal and direction we say this is an eco-awareness center, meaning to say when people come to our center, we are sharing the awareness of environmental protection to them. We are sharing the knowledge of environmental protection to them. That is where we through the name of the station, we constantly remind ourselves this is what the station should achieve. So this, just as I say, first generation, second generation. So you can see first generation, very raw. Everything is like through our very basic limited resources, we come up with the setup. So everything is very raw, and basically very much focused on recycling collection. Yeah. So, and then for the educational board is just this so simple. This very static poster boards, and then our volunteers have to try very hard how to engage the visitor with static information. And then this is the second generation, the version 2, which I mentioned we launched in 2018. Then we have we design and incorporate interactive these exhibits like this item here that is also visually more eye-catching, and then some big words there that is a key point to capture, and volunteers can use the keyword to share the message. Yeah, so very proud to share that in the second generation, the output is that, but in the background, in the whole planning, in the whole execution, the team has supported very well the idea of all the exhibit item as much as we can. We use material. We try to, as much as possible, to avoid using new material to create any of the exhibit boards or items we need there. So like you see, like this ocean pollution, this basic board, we actually take other exhibit board, dismantle, and then join and make this new board. So like even this food cart you see here, this is a salvage computer table, and then we from a salvage computer table, then we salvage it into and make it into a food cart, and then everything is handmade by a volunteer. So with this process of this creation, actually bring more affiliation from the volunteer to all these exhibit item. Yeah, so you see everything. We are fortunate that we managed to get volunteer different skill set. Even though they don't know, they try to think, and then they try to create as close as they could to what we wish. Everything handmade. And finally, the second generation was launched on 2018 in conjunction with Tzu Chi Singapore 25th anniversary, and it was launched by the minister himself. So we actually had a lot of recognition from the ministry on this. I would say the one and only education environment education center in Singapore. Yeah. So after launch, after we launch, we have visitors from everywhere, including our board teachers and also volunteers from Taiwan. They were here for others. They were here for Singapore for a trip, and then this is also one place that they come and learn and share as well. So during that second generation, the volunteer team has more confidence on the content itself, and also it's easier to engage. And then we host many visiting groups in a very spacious station, I would say, in the past. Yeah. So now I will hand over to Sister Yuan Yuan to share another portion of us. We have been, I mean, until this point, we have been a very hands-on, very engaged, very active group of so-called eco volunteers. So we are always moving, but always touching something. We're always doing sorting. But then pandemic came. All of us encountered pandemic, and pandemic is a time whereby it's almost like the whole world come to a stop in terms of people engagement, in terms of so-called interaction or activity. So what happened to our team in this situation? Now you cannot move, you cannot do anything, you know. So do we just sit there and do nothing? I think everyone is definitely trying to do something, and let Sister Yuan Yuan share with everyone what the team was doing back then. Back to you, Sister Yuan Yuan. Your mic is mute.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. So as Sister Susan was telling us, you know, how Singapore is really trying to move towards the community awareness. Impermanence hit us, COVID hit us, but COVID also served as a very pivotal event for our journey in Singapore. It was a very unforgettable period. But I guess the beauty in Tzu Chi volunteers is that we are very adaptable, and you know, we are very used to changes, and so we took this as an opportunity. So during this COVID period, Singapore implemented preventive measures, which included a partial nation lockdown. So and also, you know, eventually reduction in social gathering and group size. So what did we do? We did not you know, give ourselves a rest or a break period. Instead, we continued with being very involved in environmental protection. It's just that we moved into a different form. We actually formed our online study group. So what did we do for our online study group? We studied on 2 books. One is by our Master Cheng Yen. And so we were, instead of doing the physical recycling, we really moved on to having a very deeper practice of spiritual recycling. So this book on the left is the book that's by Sang Ren, right? So it's the Environmental Protection 30. And then we also had this Jingzi Dharma lineage and Tzu Chi School of Buddhism. So because we were focusing on environmental protection and raising awareness, we took this opportunity for ourselves to deepen the knowledge so that we can bring this with us to give us the right direction and to give us also the belief and the courage to stay on the correct course. So we formed a team of sharing team. We were all just eco volunteers who were very hands-on, like what Sister mentioned. So we were not very used to doing sharing, but we took up the challenge, even having to befriend with our technology. But who benefited the most? It was us. We felt very recharged, and it really served us even stronger direction and anchoring our beliefs in what we were doing was right. And so that also gave us a push and a strength to really move on to our next milestone, which is a Recycling Day into Environmental Sustainability Day. So with the relaxation of preventive measures, the physical activities in Singapore started to resume. So with the learnings and the goal in our mind to be into the community, to bring and also to raise the awareness of what is recycling right. COVID changed the way of our lives, but it also changed how we were going to move forward to advocate for our Mother Earth. So from an adapt from this book by Master. So there's this whole excerpt by Master that says, now we need to go deep into the community and strengthen environmental education so that everyone can understand and practice it. So awareness on environmental education on recycling right needs to be raised. If the public does not understand the purpose of recycling right, resources will still be turned into garbage. So, and that's why there was a very important calling for the standard of environmental protection to be improved. So pre-COVID, as it was shared, right, we were just sorting and segregating the items that were donated to us. So post-COVID, we really wanted to shift the form into education and interacting with the residents and publics to help them understand what they were doing and also how they could bring the impact of their actions further and to contribute to save the earth. So with all this information that we have, with the essence of all these teachings, we were now able to make greater connection with what we were already doing, but to a different level. So just some pictures to show you what was happening pre-COVID. You see our recycling points are just covered by items that were donated to us. So residents really just bring down bags and bags of unsorted recyclables. And then you see our volunteers, they are all heads down, just looking down at the recyclables, trying to sort them out. We rarely see their faces, So there's this very few interactions. And so here comes our eco-point transformation. So it was time to really shift from looking down at the recyclable to up facing the public, to raise awareness and to have all this purposeful interaction with the public. And so the journey of transformation begins for Singapore's recycling team. So we saw this picture just now. What was happening here is we were preparing for the resuming of our eco points. So these are pictures of the Eco Awareness Center. We actually have volunteers going down to go through so-called trainings to get ready. And why was it? Because as the preventive measures were relaxed, there were still limitations. So our recycling points now have to have limited manpower to man the stations. It was not like previously we can have lots and lots of volunteers, but with the regulations, we have to be very targeted in our eco points. So we have members who are volunteers who actually come down to be trained to how to man the points. So using the analogy of a football team, a football team consists of various players coming together with one mission, and that's to score a goal. And for us now, we form core teams to move towards to having more interactions and educating the public on what is recycling right, what is recycling, and eventually to move on to a wider scope of how do we exercise more good habits and mindful habits in protecting our Mother Earth. So everyone in the core team now have a very targeted role and responsibility, and they're very clear of what they have to do so that we can have the recycling points up and running and be ready for this new change. So each of us actually will have to be very focused and very, know what we have to do. And this is the new look. This is the very initial stage after the resuming of our eco points. So as you can see, we had to have these barriers. We have to be have very specific entry points and exit points. And you can see these residents are now queuing up. So we are very thankful for our residents. They're very, very supportive, and they were still very looking forward to us coming back. So, and they were also pretty open and understanding towards this change. So while COVID may have its negative impacts, but like I mentioned, it was very a pivotal event. Now residents are being to lack a better word, like forced, but also to encourage them who really have to do their own recycling at home, and then when they bring down to do the sorting on their own. So if you can see on the top right-hand corner, we have all these boxes set up. It's actually all the different materials already. Previously, we are the ones who will put them into different materials. Now they come down, with their trolleys, with their bags, they put their own items into this. So it drives through the message to them also, oh, wow, it's not just me having a whole bag of things and I'm done with my job, but wow, there's this another layer and this is what recycling is about. So this whole education came in, and because of them having to sort the items on their own, it really allows the volunteers to have more time and the capacity to do the interaction with the residents. So you can see on the bottom right picture, we can now spend the time to interact with them and to do education. So also now, some of our volunteers in these pictures are not wearing masks because this is more recent photos already where the preventive measures is even more lax, but you see the transformation from really just now not being able to see the faces of our volunteers. Now our volunteers have our beautiful the faces, shown to the public, and doing the explanation, doing the outreach to them. So it's really moving towards our goal closer and closer, where we really want to reach into the community and to bring out the essence that everyone can contribute in an even greater way rather than just bringing the recycling down. And of course, our 5R is there, right? Recycling is really, really the last R. We really hope that everyone, start to be more mindful and conscientious about doing refills first, so that, our recyclables, it's not really wanting the amounts like last time where our mentality is you want to collect a lot. But now we have also a shift within our volunteers as well, right? Actually, it's not about the recyclables, but more of how when the residences display changes in their lifestyle starting from refills. So we're very encouraged because we do have volunteers coming down, by now we have formed bonds, say, we are friends, and they really share with us the change in them. So we do have that, our residences coming to our point and sharing that, oh, now I'm starting to bring my own reusables instead of bringing disposables to pack food from our food centers. And for the point that that I'm at, there are stores in the food center where they give disposables. So because of manpower, they don't have time to give plates, right? They really use plastic containers to serve food. So I had this resident coming down and saying, today I brought my own reusables. So yeah, it was very encouraging, and they will really also share tips with us, like how to save water. So it's very encouraging to see the change, and also to see how residents and the general public are also having that awareness and being very open in this shift in their lifestyle. And so then, it falls back to our master saying that having a common understanding at this point in time is really insufficient. There's really an urgency and pressing need for consensus and unified action. So only by reducing our material needs, practicing self-love, and cultivating a love for others and the environment can we truly resolve the climate crisis that we are facing now. So really, it's everyone's responsibility. And we really hope to pass on this message to anyone who, have the chance to visit our eco points. So the changes I've mentioned, also comes with this name that you see on top, Recycling Day to Environmental Sustainability Day. Our Tzu Chi volunteers recycling sorting out the recyclables, now moving on to changing in a role where we are now engaging, we are now educating, and then the sorting is actually done by the residents. So yeah, it took a couple of sessions, but everyone just transited into it. We are very grateful for that. And so together with the change in the whole physical form of the whole how the layout and what our roles became, and also now the change in name, it has now encompassed a wider scope, allow us to actually increase the topics and areas that we can share with the general public, from just recycling recyclables, what can be recycled, how can we prolong the lifespan of materials that we are using, to now food waste and eco lifestyles, and how can we incorporate tiny little changes, and also how to save water. And with all these, we are really hoping to develop a very long-term sustainable habits in all of us in favor to environment, so that we can really play our little role to just slow down this whole climate crisis, and of course our climate clock timing. So then of course there's a whole new exciting road after this whole transformation. What happened? I'll pass the time back to Sister Susan. Thank you for your listening.
Yeah. So what Sister Yuan has shared is, I would consider one big milestone in the community point that we have been operating in the past year. And as she mentioned, very thankfully, our team is actually very thankful to COVID, despite it bring a lot of big disastrous impact to the whole world. But because of that impact actually gave people, the human being, a great impact, and is a impact that's positive in our sense to actually advocate and encourage people to actually be more environmental friendly, so we could make the changes at the Eco Point, including our volunteers, I must say. In fact, this change of from Recycling Day to Environmental Sustainability Day, I must say the biggest challenge is actually our volunteers. Public will actually embracing it much better than us, but at the end of the day, everybody is habitual, so it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort to first educate internally first. So this journey has also taught us a lesson that internally our volunteer, they need to be the one to be strongly educated first. They need to be educated, they need to embrace, they need to accept the idea, the method, then the power of the team to influence the society, to influence the world, then is there. And we have witnessed it through this latest change. So that is only one milestone. As she mentioned, there's more things that need to be done and come. So what happened after pandemic? This 45 minutes is not enough for 30 years. So we will do our part 2 in the next round. So what happened after pandemic to be continued. Thank you.
Thank you, both Sister Susan and Sister Yan Yan, for a wonderful sharing. And I can see from your sharing and the enthusiasm that you have on bringing other people together as a football team. All right, I know that both of you are really rushing off. So if we can open up videos, they can take a photo now before Brother Joe comes on.
Yeah, Brother Joe is in together the first.感恩 to our Singapore team for the wonderful sharing. Truly, we have learned so much from both sisters. Always very happy to hear the footprints since the beginning. Maybe next time we can invite other countries to share their footprints. Okay, I think the times we look forward to Brother Joe sharing. Yeah.
All right, Brother Joe, you got I still remember your pledge for 2024, and you're doing well. We look forward to the wisdom sharing this morning.
Yes, thank you. Greetings, everybody. It's been a while, and I just listened to our sisters from Singapore share about their efforts and dedication to the recycling and also environmental protection. And I think that from their voices and also from their facial expression, you could definitely see that there is so much joy and there is so much enlightenment coming from just contributing your efforts in this continuous, very important footprints that Master has started for us. And I'm very grateful that there are the warriors of the protecting Earth, or the protectors of Earth, that are willing to go out to the public and also share and also lead by example and lead the people to continue this effort. And I think that is what we need today. And it's what we need right now. So many thanks to all of our recycling volunteers and also all of our environmental protectionists and also the teachers that are teaching these very important issues to all of us.